shackles is why they got you confined. From the reservoir of intellect, I'm sipping like wine. Young men are glued and stay sticking the crime. As I walk down the dusty road of consciousness, news and police scare sheep with bomb threats. Banks get bailed out, moms pay ransoms. Push your feet from under your ceiling like Samson. I watch lectures on DVD format. Change your mind frame, don't treat her like a doormat. Giving people weapons with wrong perceptions. Rather judge without a gavel than have the matrix unravel. Courthouses used to be my Moorish castle. The stock on the exchange is the human cattle. Human resources office replace personnel to get past the farthest star, past to hell. Hell could be a pink slip or stuck in a well. Hell could be under your nose and you can't tell. Looking for the horns and pitchforks, some quick talk. Make youths role models, be Lil Wayne and Rick Ross. Know the high and low self, says Circle 7. So you could know heaven and hell, brethren. Free your mind. Who knows what you'll find? Mental shackles is why they got you confined. From the reservoir of intellect, I'm sipping like wine. Young men are glued and stay sticking the crime. Free your mind. Who knows what you'll find? Mental shackles is how they got you confined. My spoken sight, visualize me hold the mic. Throat chakra, open minds like a Coke or Sprite. Open minds, treasure chest, thoughts are pearl rubies. It's not right that you call the girls jubies. Respect your mom, if dad responsible. Don't listen to mom saying he's irresponsible. Free your mind, do your own thinking. Tight pants off your ass, not wearing pink and ting. That's not you, stop following what clowns do. My speech is earth tones, like Hunter Green and Brown too. Being in darkness, knowledge is light. Saying that you're black, not a more, I know that it's fright. I won't loosen it up, cause the flow is just tight. Ancients paved my path, so I know that it's right. What you consider war is population control. Losing light shows and shows to blind your soul. Still no reparations, all that begging. Youths lose their minds from crime and music injections. Eyeing apart promotion from the ones you're electing. Contracts of adhesion from the Sony Legion demons. So deep in the mind like submarine seamen. Graduate from the cosmic college of reason. Inhale and exhale, control your breathing. Get your thought right so you don't act like a heathen. Free your mind. Who knows what you'll find? Mental shackles is why they got you confined. From the reservoir of intellect, I'm sipping like wine. Young men are glued and stay sticking the crime. Free your mind. Who knows what you'll find? Mental shackles is how they got you confined. From the reservoir of intellect, I'm sipping like wine. Young men are glued and stay sticking the crime. Just pose your question again.
About the ACA.
Yeah.
I wanted to know how we could access those documents.
Okay, now, like I was saying earlier, the ACA is an act, right? So once you're dealing with acts, you're dealing with a fraudulent jurisdiction. Because the people who put out the acts don't have the authority to make any law. Because they're not the indigenous people. Right? So you were saying that that they're gonna fine people if they don't get down with this act or whatever the case is, right? Now if
you got to sign up, go online and fill out the information for the healthcare.
Right. Now, if you are going to fill out anything with those people, you have to understand that anything that you have to fill out and they ask you to sign is a contract. And if you sign it not knowing the implications of the contract, because most of the times we don't ask, we just sign stuff. Right, we don't read anything. We just sign, click here, whatever. Right. We get ourselves caught up in things that have no bearing on what we were going to them for in the first place. Right. Because as indigenous people, we should be doing certain things for ourselves. So like if we're talking about healthcare, the only real doctor is yourself. You know, like we know that. Right? But that's where it comes in to nationality and understanding that you have a status in order to do these things. That you don't need their permission to do anything. Because it's really your power that they're exercising on your behalf because you don't want to do it. But they're tying all these other things to get you to think that they're really in your best interest when they're not in your best interest. Just for the simple fact that they're saying that, you know, this act is connected to this healthcare. When you have a right.
Is that connected to what?
To healthcare. Right? Because the whole act, the act itself has to do with some type of healthcare, right?
You're breaking up. I can't hear you clearly.
The act.
Mm-hmm.
The act itself. Does the act have to do with healthcare? What's the name of the act again?
The name of the act is. Hold on. Affordable Care Act.
All right. Okay, so they're gonna tell you to apply online, right? And when you apply online, you're not able to sign. So you're going into a contract that you're not even signing, which makes it void. So let's say something happens under this health insurance quote unquote plan, right? If something happens not in your best interest, you can't hold them liable because you didn't sign anything. You just applied online, they sent you some stuff in the mail, card or whatever, and now you're quote unquote covered. Right? So, like for example, here, what they're doing there is the same thing that they've had here forever, which is free healthcare. That you go to the government, you apply for a card called a quote unquote health card.
Forgetting you're in Canada.
Yeah, and with this health card, you can go and get whatever it is that you need with regard to health. Right? Like, I have a health card, but I don't use it because there's no benefit. Right? Because I'm holistic.
Right, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Right?
Why am I going to spend my time signing up for something?
Exactly. But what
it's not going to benefit me. Doesn't really have my best interest in it at all. Because the thing is, they're saying that people are going to be covered, but in the act, someone told me I can't pull up the act. I'm trying to find it so I can read it myself.
Yeah.
And someone else told me that if you actually read the information for yourself, you learn that after a certain time period, anybody who's actually sick is going to be kicked out of the program.
Right.
So really it's just another mass genocide attempt.
Basically. And keep in mind, right, that the so-called United States is supposed to be a republic. And the people who are pushing this idea of affordable health care and whatever, they say out of their own mouth that it's a democracy. Right? Mm-hmm. So you have these democratic people, which basically means that they don't have any type of connection to the Constitution. They're basically just criminals, right? Setting up some type of something to get dumb people who don't read, just like whoever told you, if they read the act, they'll realize that, hold on a second, so if this is affordable, then why isn't it for life? Why does it expire? Why do I have to sign for it? You already got my name from the census, why don't you just send me the stuff?
Hopefully you get fined if you do not apply for it.
All right.
I'm looking into it now because I want to know for sure.
Okay, so, right, you get fined, right? So let's go, since this is government, right, that means that they're dealing with law, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so if they're dealing with law, let's go look up in the law dictionary what these words are that these so-called governmental people are talking about. So you mentioned fine, right?
Mm-hmm.
So fine, there's one definition under fine as a verb. To impose a pecuniary punishment or mulct. To sentence a person convicted of an offense to pay a penalty in money. Right? To sentence a person convicted of an offense. That's what a fine is.
Wow.
So what offense did you commit? Right? By not signing this act that they're trying to impose on you.
Right.
Because now we're going.
I'm not filling it out.
Yeah, because now we're going into forcible. We're going into slavery.
Right.
Right now. Right?
Yes.
We're going into, you better sign this, because if you don't sign this, we're going to fine you, because you have convicted an offense. So if they're saying that they're going to fine you because you are convicted of an offense, then there must be some type of book, documentation, code book that shows you what you violated. Right? And there's no such thing. They're really gonna tell you that it's against the law not to fill out an online form? That's basically what they're saying. They're saying if you don't get a Facebook account, we're gonna send you a bill in the mail for $5,000. That's their position, right? Now, there's also fine as a noun. A sum of money paid at the end to make an end of a transaction, suit, or prosecution. A forfeit or forfeiture. Right? Then we go to forfeiture. Forfeiture. Something to which the right is lost by the commission of a crime or fault of the way. A deprivation or construction of a right. So that fine is really letting you know when they fine you that you had a right and they're basically stealing it from you. And they're telling you that in order for you to get the right back, you have to pay this fee called a fine. And then we'll give you the right back, and then you don't have to worry about any type of Obamacare or whatever. You just do your own thing. But remember, that's a right. So you already had that to begin with before these guys even came out with anything saying they have a package to offer. And then we have to look at it from a different perspective because we're holistic. So we don't have these issues that people have with regard to health, where they see this as a way out. That, oh yeah, they got, you know what I mean? Like, who knows how much millions of people already went and signed up for that? And I'm pretty sure millions of people have already went and signed up for that. Without even reading anything. Without even thinking in their mind, hold on a second, isn't the government shut down? If the government shut... Hold on a second. So the government shut down, right? Did they start back up yet over there? All right. So
it was shut down for 16 days.
All right, and then 6 and 1 is 7, right? So we already know where they're going, right? They have made a whole nation of people oblivious to their rights. that they have a right to say, no, I'm not signing that. Because right here in this act, section 5 point whatever says whatever, and that's detrimental to my so-called healthcare. Sign it up. But if you don't have a nationality, don't think that you can talk how I'm talking to those people. Because anybody who doesn't have a nationality is a ward to them. And they better go sign for that thing if they never made any proclamation to this so-called Inquisition colonist corporate government. They never put them on notice to let them know that, hold on a second, you know, I know who you guys say that you are, but according to my studies, you're not even who you say you are. You guys are running a fraud on the entire planet. And all their allies all around the world are now mad at them and are basically coming at them. Right? And their only defense is get the people who are so-called U.S. citizens to sign their life away, which is energy, to give them power so they can go fight these people who they made allies with that are mad at them right now. Because for them, it's all about energy. And again, it's not for us. That's why I said that I'm gonna record it to put it out there. It's not for people who have this knowledge. Like I see your Facebook. You got L on your name. So at least even the CIA and FBI that, you know, monitor that, they know your position based on your name on your Facebook account. Whether you're fully aware of it or not, the point that it's there makes a statement. It means that you have a nationality. And then when you go to the rights of indigenous people, every indigenous individual has a right to a nationality. So they're telling you, and this is the UN, which is a sellout, bought out corporate agency. They're telling the whole world through the UN declarations that all these governments of the world that are corporate signed on to, that, you know, everybody has a right to a nationality. And then they step back. And how many people are gonna go pick up the right? And if you don't pick up the right, then obviously you're letting them know that you have no honor. You don't honor your foremothers and forefathers. You don't honor what they stood for. All that talk about being saved and all that stuff, Jesus loves you or whatever, out the window, because you don't even honor him. Because everybody knows that his name's Yahshua, not Jesus. And we're the only ones playing around like, you know, a European on our wall is who saved us. And when you go all around the world, everybody else has quote unquote black gods in their house. And parading down the street with black gods or whatever. Right? So the nationality piece is what gives us the power to say no to these people. Right? Because remember that society has become multicultural. Right? So being that society is multicultural, we assume that everybody else is going through the same thing that we're going through, when it doesn't work like that. Because everybody else that comes to North America, they come here with a nationality. We've been here and we haven't had a nationality. We call ourselves adjectives and colors and all that, and think that that's a legitimate position. So the key is recognizing that you do have a nationality, and if you do have a nationality, you have obligation to your ancestors to stand up to fraud when it presents itself. Just like the fraud of dipping chicken, right? Okay, the fraud of dipping chicken made their claim. You didn't go sign up to that. So yeah, we're gonna promote some dipping chicken, and you know what I mean, you guys should go to that store and shop there. No, we're drawing the line at that. We already know that that's not in our best interest. Same thing with this
care stuff and health care and all these other things. Because we know that we're supposed to be holistic. We know you got a cold, you can just go right down there. There's a little bush that looks like this, pull that out, boil the root, and you'll be good tomorrow. You'll be good in an hour. But you can't do those things if you don't have a nationality. And when we think back to when we were younger, right? Grandma wasn't on no health care or nothing like that. She just boiled you some herbs. Right? And that's it. So it's all about our perspective on how we look at these things that these people present. Because we have to remember that this is the so-called enemy. So this is the so-called enemy, right? Person who we know, killed a cracker and whatever, right? So he's come with a package for us to give us health care, and we're going to go aside when we know that's the enemy. It's not a secret. That's the same people who everybody's cursing out that Bush was, head of, and Bush Senior, and then they took money from people and went all around the world and did all this type of madness, killing people, killing leaders and all that stuff. And now they come with a healthcare package and everybody's signing up. That's apparent hypocrisy. That's hypocrisy on the highest level. And then we want to know why does stuff happen to us. Why does stuff happen to us? Why is this happening? Why is that happening? Because we call it all on ourselves by not using our common sense. And like you're saying, as soon as it came out, something has to go off in your head to ask some questions about something. You're not just gonna go push the thing and just go sign up just because they say affordable healthcare. They use the word affordable, right? That doesn't mean anything. It has no validity. First of all, because it's a contract and you're not signing. You're just clicking something online. Fill in this thing, we'll send you something in the mail. That's like Reader's Digest or whatever. That's not government. Right? That's not government. We're the government. And if they're talking about they're shut down and all that stuff, then we better be government and start being governmental.
Right? Doctors and stuff like that, like we had back in the day, man.
Exactly.
Where all the segregation, stupidity took place.
Right.
Wanting to integrate and be like the people who murder us.
Exactly.
And children and...
Which again is apparent hypocrisy and contradiction. And we can't expect anybody to take us seriously if that's our mentality. Nobody else thinks like that. Only our people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and let's say you don't sign up, right?
Right. Well, I'm reading through it, and as I'm studying more and more, it's saying that pretty much if you can afford health care, you have to have health care. And if you don't, you'll have to pay a fee.
Oh.
But I don't think it applies to you if you can't afford health care.
Right? Now, if they're speaking of from the perspective of you getting something.
And they're calling it a fee.
Yeah.
Not a fine.
Not a fine. Oh yeah.
Fee.
Yeah. We're going there. Because what they're doing is they're really practicing Roman rule, Roman Catholic rule on the people, right? because that's what they are. And the war has always been between the Romans and the Moors. That's what the war has always been about. And then people who are under the rule of the Moors get caught up in the fight. Right? So fee, a charge fixed by law for services of public officers or for use of a privilege under control of government. Right?
Right.
So you're paying, they're going to charge you a fee, which means that you're paying for a privilege. You're paying for a privilege that the government has. When the reality of the situation is that the privilege that the government has is your right that you didn't claim. So now they're selling the right back to you as a privilege. And it's the same thing they do with licenses. It's the same thing, because you have a right to just get in the car, put the key in, and go buy milk, come back home. You don't need a license for that. But if you don't use that right, then they're going to take the right, assume the position of government, because obviously you don't want to be government, because you would be doing it yourself, not waiting on them to do something. And then they sell it back to you with a fee attached. And then people think that that's how government runs, when that's how slave trade runs. And everybody's signing up to go be a slave. Under healthcare now, not picking cotton, or picking corn, or picking whatever. And then don't forget that the United States, which is different from the United States of America, is a private corporation that has nothing to do with the land called the Americas. And those people that go sign up are pledging themselves to be collateral for the national debt that these so-called governmental offices owe to the international bankers.
Man, I'm really worried about our people here.
Worry about yourself.
Yeah.
Because we see the pattern of our people. Right? You know, and the most we can do is do what we're doing and put information out to try to help them. But if they don't want it, they're not picking it up. And that's ultimately up to them.
And the way they're justifying it is that they're saying that because people go and get medical treatment and they don't pay their bills, it's why everybody now has to have medical insurance.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't afford it, you have to have it, or you have to pay a fee. And this fee is supposed to go toward, I guess, the debt that has occurred from people not paying their medical bills.
Right. So now, if they're claiming that there's debts from people who didn't pay their medical bill, right? And the medical bill is supposed to be separate from government because the hospital is a private organization. And that's who you're getting billed from. You're not getting billed from the government. So is the government now buying these debts from the hospital in order to try to get payments from the people in order to pay off their debt? And if they are doing that, you have to ask the question. Well,
I'm sure they're getting paid by all these medical people. That's what it really is.
No, well, let's go deeper. They're supposed to be in debt. So if you're in debt, shouldn't you be buying credit?
Yes.
If you're in debt, why are you buying debt? And not only are you buying debt, but you're demanding that the people pay fees or fines, which they're going to be paying with debt, because those dollars and credit or whatever is of no value. So they're paying a debt with a debt to try to bring down the debt, which is only going to implode the debt. That's why nationality is the order of the day. So you can handle your own affairs and you don't have to worry about these people and their corporate scheme that they're running on the world.
Right.
Because you by having a nationality you remove yourself from that fraud. Because that fraud is strictly existing because of a democracy. Right? That fraud is strictly, right? So now with regard to the act, right? So we go to the Constitution, right? We go to the Constitution, Article 6 of the Constitution. This Constitution and the laws of the United States, which shall be made in pursuance thereof, and all treaties made or which shall be made under the authority of the United States, shall be the supreme law of the land. And the judges in every state shall be bound thereby. Anything in the Constitution or laws of any state which is contrary to the Constitution doesn't have standing. So if you go to this act and you read through this act and they don't mention Constitution once in this act and saying how it's connected to the Constitution, which is the supreme law of the land, then that act has no standing at law and is void. Like completely void. You don't even need to give it any attention. But remember, attention is energy. So all they're doing is dangling the carrot out there to see how much people are going to be biting.
Right.
And based on who bites, that would based on, you know, how many of those internet things get filled out will determine their next move. And if a lot of people don't go for it, watch how they increase the pressure to make people get it. Remember, attention is energy. So once you don't pay any attention, it's not going to exist. Like for real. Right? And nothing's wrong with studying it and, you know, going through it or whatever, so you have the knowledge of what it is. Because I guarantee you, you can use that same act to condemn them for even creating the act in the first place.
Right.
That's how fraudulent their stuff is. That you can take their own stuff. We're not even talking about the Constitution, which is already, Article 6 alone is going to trump them if there's an argument. Right? Like, for example, right, they fine you, right? And they say, oh, you have to pay a fine of whatever amount, right? Mm-hmm. You go to Article 10 or Section 10, Article 1, Section 10. They fine you, right? First thing they're gonna do is send you a letter letting you know that you've been fined, this is the amount, and you need to pay by this date, right? You're gonna write them back a letter, and you're gonna question them on that letter that they sent you asking for money that's not signed by anybody, which means that's extortion, right? And you're gonna bring up Section 10 in your letter. And obviously you're going to put L on it because you can't write any letter to these people in the Negro black colored European name. Right? You better have a nationality. when you engage them, right? You not engage them in, Jeffrey's name or Franklin name, right? Section 10, no state. Oh, and remember that this act is being put out by the state, whether it's Washington or Florida or whatever, right? Wherever the act is coming from, all the states are going to be down with pushing this act on the people, right? No state, this is Article 10, Supreme Law of the Land, everybody who says that they're United States government takes an oath to this. So this is what they have to follow, nothing else. Section 10, no state shall enter into any treaty, alliance, or confederation, grant letters of marque and reprisal, coin money, emit bills of credit, make anything but gold and silver coin a tender in payment of debts. A fine is a debt, right? They're going to tell you this debt that you owe of $5,000 needs to be paid on this day. You can pay by credit card, money order, check, or whatever, right? How come the Constitution says they can make no thing but gold and silver coin a tender in payment of debts, but they're asking you for everything except gold and silver coin to pay this debt that they claim you have with them? And that's a legitimate question. If you're standing on the fact that you're indigenous to this land, if you're standing on the fact that you're holistic, if you're standing on the fact that the Constitution is the supreme law of the land, not this act that you're trying to impose on me, that if I don't get down with this act of fraud that you're imposing, I'm going to get fined for that. Right?
Right.
And this is how we have to deal with them, because they're vampires sucking off of a dead carcass. They're vultures, right? They're Draculas. Like, this is what they are. They're zombies. They don't wanna work for themselves, so they force people to work for them. So they don't have to work for themselves. And then they impose all these regulations and whatever on the people through criminal behavior, right? And criminal exercising of governmental powers and judicial powers and executive powers and all these things that make up government, and abuse the people. And not only abuse them, rob them while they're abusing them, with these fees and fines and all these things that have no weight if the people stand up to it. Which is all the people have to do, stand up to it. Right? It's not a slippery slope as it appears to be.
Right.
Because you already have Affordable Health Care Act. Right?
What do you mean by that?
Because the practice that you do is healthcare. Your practice is healthcare. Right? Mm-hmm. So people, instead of going and signing up with those people to get healthcare, they should be signing up with you and other people who are dealing with holistic practices. If they want free healthcare,
they really want to be insured to be healthy.
Exactly. If you really want to be insured, right? If you really want to be insured, right? If you really want to be insured, it's about moving toward holistic health. It's the only option that's left. There's no other option. You know what I mean? And this is why I respect you, because of how hard you push your holistic healthcare. You know what I mean? And other people that do that, because that's what has to be done.
Right.
It's not. There's no ways around it. Either we're gonna better our diet, or these people got plans that they're gonna be imposing on us to get down with
Right.
in order to be healthy. And their healthcare is burn it, cut
Pretty
it.
much they're trying to get rid of people.
That too. That too.
That's really what it comes down to, because really, who affects the most is people who can't afford health care. And so people will be ready to, like, oh, I get free health care. Let me sign up for this.
Right.
And they're so ignorant and
Right.
they're
Yeah,
just
but-
being set up for mass genocide.
Yep.
Because all they're going to do is implement other things. You got to come in for this to maintain your health care. You got to come in for that to maintain your health care. And then you're going to be sick. And they're like, oh, okay, everybody who's still sick, no longer, if you're sick, you no longer qualify for health care.
Exactly. Right? And then they get dropped off the healthcare that they went and signed on for that they didn't
That
need in the
actually probably made them sick.
right, yeah, right? Which means that it's not healthcare. If it's making you sick.
Boy.
Yeah, basically. Basically. Right? And all we could do is let the people know. Right? All we could do is put it out there in hopes that they at least come to some common sense or whatever about this. Right? Right? Just like you're saying. Now, okay, so health, right? Law dictionary. Health. State of being hale. Sound or whole in body, mind, or soul. Well-being. Freedom from pain or sickness. The most perfect state of animal life. Not synonymous with sanitation. The right to the enjoyment of health is a subdivision of the right of personal security. One of the absolute rights of persons. This is the definition of health. Right? And it's,
Yes.
and it's telling you that health is a right. So government doesn't have power to issue that. And if government is issuing something to people with fees and fines and whatever attached, they're directly telling the people that we stole your right and we're selling it back to you. Period. The question is, are you going to buy it from them, or are you just going to claim your right? Because it says it right there. Right? The right of the enjoyment of health is a subdivision of the right of personal security. So in your right of personal security, there's a subdivision called health. Right? And it's one of the absolute rights of people. Not just one of the rights, but one of the absolute rights. Right? Absolute, complete, perfect, final, without any condition or encumbrance. Isn't that act a condition or encumbrance? Right? As an absolute bond, in distinction from a conditional bond, unconditional, complete and perfect in itself, without relation to or dependence on other things or persons, instruction as to an absolute gift, irrevocable. Irrevocable. So if health is a right, an absolute right, how could they tell you that they're going to take away your health care if you don't sign up? Doesn't that mean they're making your right revocable?
Exactly.
And all these guys who put this healthcare package whatever up, they're lawyers and attorneys and judges, and they know about Black's Law Dictionary, and they know about the the word absolute, meaning all these things that we're talking about.